Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Nerdy in Many Ways. I'm Dawson Weidrich, and I'm with you today for this week's college football breakdown. This past weekend was week 7 of the college football season, and uncharacteristically, I guess, according to the past couple weeks have been kind of meh as far as matchups were concerned. But this weekend was absolutely loaded with some awesome stuff, some great games. And, usually I break down about 3 of the most important games of the weekend. I've been going through a lot more than that. I think I'm going to go through about 7 today. I'm going to really go too in-depth into each game, but I'm just going to break some of these down because I feel like a lot of these could not be overlooked. And the first one I'll bring up is, of course, Clemson looks to be back on track. Clemson looks like their old selves again, and Florida State looked like their old selves again, so that was kind of a double whammy for Florida State. But of course, Clemson won 45-14. Trevor Lawrence looked like he was back to his normal self. Travis Etienne, Clemson's defense, it just looked like the Clemson we're used to seeing. I think if you're a Clemson fan, you can kind of breathe easy a little bit because I feel like Clemson's kind of over that hump that they usually have in the middle of the season where they kind of have a hiccup game. Still staying in the ACC, we had UVA and Miami. And I tell you what, UVA just could not score. I mean, red zone was a huge problem. For any of you guys who watched the game, it's easy to see. UVA was able to move the ball, but once it got into the red zone, Miami's defense really delivered, and UVA was not able to have any answers. Which kind of stinks because I really thought UVA could really make something special this season, but instead they would end up falling to Miami 17-9. Kind of moving away from the ACC, more out west in the Mountain West, we have Boise State, who, they have quarterbacks galore. It's insane. They beat Hawaii 59-37, which Hawaii isn't the most impressive team in the world. But if you look at how Boise State did it, it's pretty interesting how it happened. Of course, their starting quarterback, Hank Bachmeier, went out after throwing for about 58 yards. He had a little hip pointer. He's going to be back in the next week, but they were able to send in their backup quarterback, Chase Cord, and not miss a beat. And they also had Jalen Henderson come in and perform really well as well. So Boise State has 3 quarterbacks that on any given day can play really well for you. And so that'll be something very interesting to look at as they stay undefeated. Going back out east to the SEC, to the south for the SEC, holy crap, the Gamecocks, they came out of nowhere with this game against Georgia. Georgia has been considered one of the top candidates to, of course, make the playoff as well as win the national title. Of course, with quarterback Jake Fromm and his history of performing really well. But Georgia did not look like top 4 material in this game. Much like how Clemson performed last week, or I guess the week before against North Carolina. Only this time, Georgia was not able to escape the Gamecocks, which were able to win in double overtime 20-17, and looked really impressive doing it. And Georgia did not look as impressive, so the question could be asked, was Georgia overrated? But at the same time, Georgia's not a team you should necessarily take for granted or overlook, right? They're a really good, solid team, but weren't able to get the job done this weekend. And we also have the Red River Rivalry this weekend, and it would be an absolute sin of me to not mention that game in this video, in this breakdown. And, unlike last year, this year in the game, you kind of felt like Oklahoma was in control the whole time. They only won 34-27, which looks close. But for those of you who watched it, you just kind of felt that Oklahoma was in control most of the time. Jalen Hurts looked fantastic. And, he's making more and more of a statement for himself to be a Heisman contender, if not the front runner. Then moving back out to the west a little bit more, we had Wisconsin absolutely shutting out Michigan State. And, the question has to be asked, and I've said it a couple times on this channel, is Wisconsin for real? And I think they might be showing that they kind of are. Granted, Michigan State is not the Michigan State of a couple years ago. They're not the team that was considered to be a top 10 program. Michigan State just hasn't been that team. But for Wisconsin to pitch out that shutout, again, it just shows how good of a defense Wisconsin has right now. Because, they have, I don't even know statistics, but they've given up an absurdly small amount of points with their defense. It's just been very impressive to say the least. And then last game I want to talk about is LSU and Florida, because LSU is another team that I feel like could be for real. LSU is a totally different animal in the past few years. Their offense is fantastic. Their defense is still pretty dang good. But quarterback Joe Burrows, holy crap, could he win the Heisman? I feel like he could also be a top runner for the Heisman Trophy, him and Jalen Hurts. I feel like, and of course I can't leave out Justin Fields, but Joe Burrows has really shown his capability of being the Heisman Trophy winner. He showed his ability to play against tough teams and to just sling it around. So that's my breakdown of Week 7 of college football, and it was a very exciting weekend. As a fan of the game, I had a fantastic time watching all these games unfold, and to see all these different players make these plays, and to some of them kind of come back into form like Trevor Lawrence, some of them stay in form like Jalen Hurts, and some kind of surprising us, of course, with South Carolina beating Georgia. And so again, that's my video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on my social media pages. Really appreciate all you subscribers. Again, the goal is to get to 100 subscribers. And so make sure to smash that like button as well as that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time.